Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, this is Boisterous coming to you some Platinum League Pandemonium out of the HotS beta. Spying down here in the bottom right-hand corner of Newkirk City, we do have Shard as the red Protoss. And in the bottom left-hand corner, we have TheSkunk as the blue Protoss. So we are going to have a nice little PvP beta matchup, which is, of course, the most imbalanced of all the beta. Well, the most balanced, because, you know, it's a mirror matchup. But let's be honest, Protoss is insane. Not sure how many people actually saw the Ra versus Ret. Yeah, I think Red was the guy. Yeah. It was Mr. Lord of Drones himself. But he played against him in a HotS show match at NASL 4, I think. Yeah, the NSL 4 finals. And basically, he raffle stomped him into the ground using only oracles. It was disgusting. Oh my god. I was like shivering with my entire body after that. Because it was like these oracles would just fly into a base and literally drop down 20, 25 drones and just slaughter them, like completely wipe out in expansion. And at one point, like Day9 was kind of looking at a mineral line, 4 oracles flew in, the entire thing was gone in 3 seconds. They are the most insane units right now. I'm really, really interested to see how they kind of get balanced out, because they're really, really ridiculous in PvZ now. Like, Queens and Spore Crawlers aren't really even good enough to handle them. They really aren't. They kind of just get wrecked. Once you get up to the point where you have Hydralisks, you kind of have a good recourse for getting rid of the Oracles, but at that point you've probably taken so much damage to your economy that you kind of just lose anyway. And really, if you do defend it well, you're going to need 4 or 5 Spore Crawlers because they're just so freaking fast. And this isn't really a beta complaint, this is actually serious concern, because I play Protoss. Actually, I switched to Protoss for HotS, and when I was watching the Ra versus Ret games, I was like, if this happens in the AHGL, the only teams that are going to be out there are going to be Protoss players. Well, that's not going to be fun, and that was actually my thoughts. Now, of course, I think Terrans would actually have a reasonable job dealing, or would actually do a reasonable job dealing with them, because of course, whoa, what? They have these? Oh my god, unbuildable plates. What? Blizzard? Oh, Blizzard. Did not even know this map had these. They're like supply depots, except way better. Oh, they're programmed. How did I not know about this? Oh my god. They have unbuildable Blizzard. Yay. Nice job. Alright, well, it looks like we have a 3-gate coming out from Shard and another 3-gate coming out from TheSkunk. Basically, both players following the exact same build order. Literally, the exact same build order. I'm not sure why I had structures up there, but I did. So that's kind of just how it happened. And it looks like they're talking about oracles and all that. Or no, that's Purify is Mothership. I'm silly. Purify is Mothership Core. Definitely. Yes, that is correct. Correct? Or maybe it is Oracle. Maybe I'm clueless. Have not spent that much time on the HotS beta. I'll be getting into it pretty soon. Looks like the Twilight Council is now coming down for TheSkunk as Shard just kind of moves into his robotics facility. So we are going to see now, you know, finally the build orders are diverging for both of our players. It looks like the 4-gate is going to be coming out from TheSkunk. He does not currently have an expansion on the way. However, Probe has been camped here for like 40 minutes. So I'm guessing he's going to be dropping it down at any point, because this Probe really shouldn't be here otherwise. It looks like we actually have Blink coming in, so it looks like it's going to be a Stalker heavy play, which on this map I can definitely see. I think Stalkers can actually smart blink over this little platform, or this little gap right here, if you do it just right. I can definitely see that happening. Also, they can blink up into the main base, basically anywhere along here. And yes, of course it's fun to play against Zerg now. Oracles win every game. I should actually stop complaining about balance, because everyone's gonna bitch at me. I know it. I just have that feeling. And even though everyone understands what I'm talking about, it's just going to be crazy comment sections and it's gonna be annoying. They probably also hate the fact that I have been so off topic this game, but that's because it's Heart of the Swarm. I love Heart of the Swarm. It's so freaking cool. All the stuff they're doing, all the things and all the people. Oh god, love it. Man, I love it so much. Actually, I just realized the mothership core is a detector. Huh. Didn't even know that. Man, I am behind on Protoss units. Crap, I feel like an idiot. Oh well, you know what? It'll all work out in the end. I feel confident. It looks like we have a Nexus now coming down for the Skunk. He of course knows that the Shard is not dropping his yet, as he does have a probe currently idling at the Natural. So basically the Skunk has been like 2 workers behind for 4 minutes now, but that's okay. I still don't know why he had one camped out down here for so long. Maybe he was checking out for proxy pylons, but I kind of doubt that. It looks like we have Immortals currently coming out from Shard, as he has fancy waypoints set up. I'm pretty sure you can do this in Wings of Liberty. Yeah, you can definitely set up shift waypoints in Wings of Liberty. Looks like we now have an Observer finally coming out for Shard after he blocked in an Immortal. This is typically a poor strategy, because the only way to get this Immortal out of here is to blast through, you know, some fairly important structures. I'm guessing he's going to eventually go for the Warp Gate, or this Warp Gate in particular, just because you can't really do... You don't want to... It's more cost efficient than blasting through 2 pylons, and I'm not actually sure if the Immortal will be able to squeeze out through this Warp Gate. Plus, it's a little bit less damage to the overall tech structure than a Cybernetics core. It looks like we have a small move out from the Mothership core, just kind of running out there trying to zap the probe. The Observer is now swinging into the Natural, it looks like, for Shard. He's going to be moving it right past the Mothership core, which of course does not currently have Envision up, so, you know, he'll be able to sneak it in there and at least get some information before it gets sniped. It looks like Colossi are now actually coming out, and this is quite a fast Colossi. Usually you want to build up some level of little, you know, gateway ball underneath your Colossi before you just start making them, because Colossi, kind of not great. And this Colossi is going to pop out in this little gap, and it's not going to be able to escape, because I don't think Colossi can walk over buildings. I'm fairly sure this is what's just about to happen. Let's observe. Let's see. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? Oh no, he just changed the rally. Man, I was very excited. I very much thought it was going to pop out right there. Would have been hilarious, but no, Shard had to do the right thing and change the rally. It looks like Shard now finally finishing up his Nexus for his Natural Skunk. You know, fairly far ahead as far as economy goes right now. 8 probes in the lead. That's fairly important. Income definitely ahead. It's, you know, 200 minerals and approximately 100 gas. Pretty good. I mean, that's definitely a respectable lead. And it looks like we actually do have a DT Shrine on the way for the Skunk. Because, you know, anytime Dark Shrine... Oh, that was Day 9 quote. Yeah, I bet you guys got it. Alright, well, we also have a Forge coming down for the Skunk, so we might see some upgraded Dark Templars swinging into the base of Shard. Now, of course, that's not the greatest idea, because actually, now that Mothership cores have Envision, and, you know, especially if you're playing against a Robo-Bay player, that's typically not the best thing to do, just because you're kind of going to lose the Dark Templar all immediately. So I wouldn't be amazed to see him kind of use that money to go into Archon Tech. And actually, whoa, great Envision from the Skunk is going to catch that Observer off guards and absolutely destroy it. So Shard will not have an Observer for a small amount of time here. Shard is actually, his army is very, very small at this point. It's kind of on the sketchy side, because the Skunk could probably move in and do some very, very severe damage to Shard at this point. I mean, he does have a reasonable amount of Stalkers and the Immortal, of course, but the Skunk just has such better production than his opponent. Plus, you know, the double Forge upgrades coming up is going to come in quite a bit of handy. Look at Shard. He actually is just now dropping his Twilight Council, so we are going to see some level of tech up to Templar coming. Not really quite sure what Templar. I would be surprised to see Dark Templar, just because Dark Templar are kind of like an awkward tech switch. In fact, I'm kind of surprised to see them out of the Skunk. Usually people go for High Templar in PvP unless they're really, really planning on the cheese, and it looks like the Skunk was not at all. In fact, he just morphed his Dark Templars into Archons, which again, reasonably good decision, just because Archons are way more effective in battles then Dark Templar army. It looks like the Skunk is going to be taking a free Zealot. No, Mr. Zealot, the hero. Oh, God. Wow, that was a nice blink by the Skunk. And that Zealot must have been super sad about losing his life right at his doorstep. It looks like charge is approximately halfway done for the Skunk. And that death animation for the Zealot was pretty freaking amazing. It was like running, and then it like warped out as it slid across the ground. And the Skunk, did I actually miss you building? Oh my god, he did build 3 forges. He is going for the triple forge upgrade. He is actually utilizing every one. The forge, the forge, the forge, shields, armor, and weapons. This is kind of insane. Nobody ever goes for strategies like this, usually because they're reasonably on the awful side. You typically don't want to drop that much money into upgrades, because upgrades are great, but they're not that great. You don't need to spend, you don't need to sink 600 minerals and 500 gas into upgrades for a couple minutes each. It's a lot of money to drop. And actually, did they lower upgrade? No, that's times. Never mind, I was completely wrong. And times for upgrades are kind of absurd. Huh. I don't think I've ever actually played with the little time thing there. Or at least I've never really noticed or watched or paid attention to it. Looks like we are now up to 4 Archons for the Skunk, which is actually a fairly formidable army, especially considering the army that Shard has, which is still fairly wimpy. I mean, there's only going to be... Oh, actually, he did move up to double robo production, but he still only has 2 Colossus out, which, considering that he produced his first one at the 14 minute mark, is a fairly low amount. It looks like that Stalker with the Pro Blink is going to be able to get out of here alive. Oh, yep, okay. It's perfectly fine. It's perfectly okay. It looks like we are now up to 5 Archons. And honestly, the Skunk, I'm kind of surprised to not see him moving out at this point, because he should be putting at least a small amount of pressure on Shard. Just because Shard has kind of the more cost-efficient army at this point. Shard's going to be able to, once he hits kind of 200 supply, it's going to be kind of nasty to be the Skunk, because the Shard is just going to be able to rock through his opponent's army. And usually when you see players going gateway, especially Archon Zealot heavy gateway, they try to go for a couple of very interesting pressure kind of timing attacks, just because it's very nice to get that damage done in the mid game to prevent your opponent from massing up too many Colossus. Because as soon as you get above the 5-6 Colossus mark, everything in your opponent's army dies somewhere around instantly, especially when it has reasonable upgrades. And although he definitely does not have superior upgrades to the Skunk, especially considering the fact that the Skunk went for 3 forges, they're not bad. And it looks like a second 7 rank score is coming out from the Skunk, as he does appear to be planning to go into air. Alright, this is going to be an interesting game. Definitely an interesting game. It looks like the Skunk is actually being amazingly cost efficient with these Scout Stalkers. He is not losing any of them. The Observer is over his primary army, and this is actually a very large move out from the Shard. This is kind of the moment that you want to avoid, because now Shard is kind of just sinking all of his money into units, and this is going to be a little bit on the awkward side. It looks like a reasonable attack here for Shard, but, this is still going to be a very heavy army for Skunk to try to win with. And oh my god, Skunk is actually, he's going to do pretty freaking well in this engagement. He's not nearly targeting the Colossi hard enough, but he is going to force his opponent back, because, Shard does not want to be losing Colossi in an engagement like that, especially when his opponent has the warp-in factor going for him. And it looks like the Photon Overcharger is actually used on the Natural Nexus to turn it into a nice little photon cannon, which works out quite well because they have massive range. It's a 13 range on this thing, which I think, reaches out to the ramp. That's kind of crazy. Love Protoss. They're freaking hilarious now. It looks like we now have Tempests on the way, 2 at a time. That is that's a lot of Tempests. And the Skunk, I'm sorry, but his upgrades are actually not too awful. I think they're just about even. Yep, 3-3 is just now starting. Now, of course, he will not have the shields, but, it's still not awful. And the Skunk, you won that because of Archons, because Archons are great, and I probably shouldn't, be referring to our players, as nobody can really hear, and I'm not sure how many of you are actually watching this in a 1080p or quality high enough to read it, but it's kind of a pet peeve I have, because whenever I see chat, I need to respond to it. I don't know why. It just annoys me every time that someone like sees a chat and doesn't respond to the fact that the chat is happening, because I don't know, it's actually just a legitimate pet peeve of mine. It looks like the Tempests are now forming up with the main army of the Skunk, and this is going to be an interesting fight. Now, of course, Kinetic Overload actually does a crap ton of damage versus Massive. Wow. I mean, that's the air-to-air attack, so it's really only good against Colossi, Broodlords, and Battlecruisers. But 85, that is still insane. And of course, I guess other Tempests. It looks like we have a small fight going on here. Reasonable snipes going down on the Colossi. It looks like the Giant Stalker army is now moving under the Tempest, but they're not doing the target fire they need to be doing. And these Tempests are actually doing an amazing job of just sniping off all of the Colossi, and that is amazingly important in this engagement. It looks like the Speed Zealots are going to be running in here, but it's not going to be enough for these Stalkers to die from Shard, and this is going to turn into a reasonably horrific attack for Skunk. He's going to be losing a whole lot of stuff here as his Zealots die in a very, very fanciful fashion. It looks like the Colossi is finally going to not go down. Oh, 5 health. Oof, that Colossi is counting his lucky stars. It looks like more Tempests are rolling out, but I really don't know if it's going to be enough. We have the Dark Templar causing havoc in the main force, in the main army, and there's absolutely no detection here. Oh my god. DTs are actually working. Does he not have a Mothership Core? Why didn't he make a Mothership Core? Why doesn't he have like 2 observers with his army at all times? This isn't smart. Shard, what are you doing, man? Oh my god. That was a horrible decision. Looks like he did pick up one Colossus to get it out of there without any danger from the DTs, but still, come on! Oh my god, it looks like we have +3/+3/+3 coming out from the Skunk, as Shields is also going to be ramping up alongside armor and weapons, you know, already having finished a little while ago. He's also going for reasonable air upgrades with +1/+1 already done. I wouldn't be surprised to see +2/+2 starting, considering how deeply he is investing into his Tempest tech. And how much do Tempests cost again? Tempests are pretty freaking expensive units. He lost a lot of money in that last engagement, and Skunk is now in kind of an awkward position because, you know, Shard's doing really well. Like, really, really well. It looks like the Warp Prism from Shard is going to be flying up into the main base at any moment now, which will provide him with a great reinforcement route into the primary base. Does Shard have Blink? Yes, he does, so we could see a giant Blink into the main base. However, it would appear that we are not. In fact, the army is just going to engage on the front door, and oh my god, that is kind of an awkward spot to be Skunk and Shard, actually. Shard is going to lose all of his Colossi here. I'd be amazed if any of them made it out of here alive. And that's a massive chunk of his army to be losing to just nothing. But I'm honestly not sure if it's going to be enough, because Shard just has a massive freaking army. I don't think the Skunk is going to be able to come back from this, because this is just going to absolutely wreak havoc through his base, especially with the Warp Prism warping in reinforcements to the back. And oh my god, how did you not learn of your mistake? Oh, Jesus. There's 60 Ts here, and no detection. 60 Ts just killed his entire army. I am actually face-palming really, really hard right now. So if my mic quality just went down, it's because my arm is in front of my mouth as there was so much fail there. How do you not do that? How do you not get detection? Shard, come on. Come on, your opponent already, you know he has DT tech. You saw the Dark Shrine when it was building with your observer. You lost Colossi to 3 DTs during the last engagement, and you don't bring in the fucking observers? What are you doing? God. This shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but it does. He's finally building observers, now 2 at a time. All of the observers. You know, the Skunk still in trouble, but he's not out of it yet. He's nowhere near out of it yet. He has crazy upgrades for these Archons. 3 shields this early, that's insane. And you know, the Shard just lost an entire army when he really, really shouldn't have. And I am very disappointed. Very, very disappointed in Shard. I would be extremely surprised to see any more Tempests coming out. Tempests are actually not that fantastic in this matchup. It looks like the Skunk, being the troll that he is dropping down pylons at the 4th base of Shard as he tries to expand to it, and oh, so trolly-oly. It looks like the Archons are going to be taking the Zone like a Watchtower and just, standing there, being a little bit of a phalanx, making sure that nothing moves in, and I still can't believe that last engagement. Can't freaking believe that Skunk got out of that alive, because there's no way he should have. If anyone argues that he should not have lost there, he should have lost there, and then his opponent just didn't build observers, even though he knew that DTs were on the field, and DTs were most certainly a possibility. There's so much fail. And it looks like Shard is actually going to choose to just not take a 4th base, which is a little bit on the strange side. Actually, we do finally have probes moving out there, and it looks like he's going to be taking out the pylon with probes, a little bit on the awkward side. No, in fact, he's actually going to be mining gas with the probes. Of course, that's the right idea here. Move out with your army while you mine gas with your probes. Now, don't just kill the pylon in like 6 seconds. It looks like we do now have the move out from Shard, and this is going to be a bad situation for Skunk, because there is finally observers with the army. And in fact, they're even going for the observer speed. And I didn't know, now that if you click on it, it actually brings you to the building researching / building it. Huh, that's weird. And it doesn't give you like the tooltips for what it is anymore. It doesn't tell you, which is a little bit on the annoying side. It looks like he's going for a small snipe on the observers, but the reasonably placed observers from Shard are going to be far too much for that. It looks like the DTs are now going to be moving in with the primary army. I really hope he makes them Archons. Oh no, he's not making them Archons. Run away with the DTs and make them into Archons. Please make them into Archons. He's not making them into Archons. He's just letting them cleave down by the... nobody was surprised. All of the Dark Templars just died, and nobody was surprised. Alright, well, it looks like Shard is going to be moving into the main base of his opponent, and this is a super awkward position. This is so many charge lots to be attacking with, and this is not good for Skunk. I don't think there's a way to... Where are the observers? Did the observers actually get... Did he actually pull that off? Oh, you have got to be freaking kidding me. The observer... Has Shard... Is Skunk just... Did he... Has he just been sniping the observers the entire game? This guy is actually a king of PvP. I feel bad for making so much fun of Shard. I mean, granted, Skunk probably still gonna die because he just lost all of his bases, to everything from Shard. And really, if Shard just pushes up into the main base and, maybe micros Colossi a little bit better, game's still over. I didn't actually notice he was just killing the observers. Wow. Plus, Shard was probably A-moving, so the observers, of course, flew over the main army. I'm pretty sure, because that's usually how people lose their observers. They actually have them in their main support groups instead of having them follow around a stalker, which is typically what you should do, because stalkers typically don't die too much. And, if an observer is following around a stalker, whenever you aim with the stalker, it's going to stand all the way back. Either that, or I guess you can make them follow around Colossi, depending on who you're playing against. If you're playing against, like, a Terran, you might not want to do that because then you won't see ghosts as easily, but Protoss, considering the fact that the only thing you're searching for is Dark Templar, that could work out reasonably well. And it looks like Shard is now going to get everything out of the front enemy base cleaned up. Wow. Alright, so there's now 8 DTs on the field, which is a lot of DTs. That's a lot of DTs and will do a lot of damage. However, Shard is still in a good position. Actually, no, he's not. He has like no economy anymore. Oh my god. Is this game actually happening right here? Because I'm starting to get a little bit of a headache from it. It doesn't make sense. This game should not occur ever. Ever. And it looks like the rocks have been dropped at that ramp to the 3rd base for the Skunk, which is a nice spot to put those rocks down, just because, it means that they can't get attacked. It means that the base cannot be attacked from a position like this anymore. Still... the DTs do a lot of damage. Oh my god. This game can't actually be happening. I don't actually have words to say about this game because it's just a name. I don't understand how this is working out for Shard, or the Skunk, but it is. Somehow, you know, Shard did not decide to kill off the pylon at the 4th base with his entire giant, huge army, so, you know, he didn't have any economy. And he's just sitting here idling with all of his probes. So many probes, actually, in fact. So many probes. I'm not sure if they would actually... No, they wouldn't speed up mining. This is way oversaturated currently. But still, so many probes idling at the natural, and it looks so silly. It looks like DTs are getting cleaned up at the 3rd base. I think that was actually only one DT. Still a little bit on the awkward side, but not insurmountable. And it looks like Skunk is now expanding finally, and Shard is too. So we have both players dropping down their expansions. Skunk is actually slightly further ahead as far as expansion timing goes, and I can't actually believe how passive this game has ended up. My mind is melting from this game. I cannot believe that this is how this game ended up. Skunk is actually way too good of a player, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't notice that he was sniping the observers earlier, because I'm pretty sure they were all just flying over his army, and then he was popping in vision and absolutely wrecking them, because, you know, they're observers. What the hell are they going to do? They're just going to die. You know, they're invisible, but they only have, what, 40 life? 60 life, my bad. And that's if you combine the shields and the armor hull damage, of course. It looks like we have photon cannons going down to the Skunk in interesting positions. Usually you put your photon cannons over here because this is typically the more dangerous attack route, and not here because, you know, people can still snipe the Nexus from over here with zealots, or not zealots, stalkers and sentries and basically anything else. Looks like we have some big long-range mining happening here, which, you know, isn't horrible considering the fact that it's a reasonable economy, and in fact, I think it would be like comparable to his opponents, and in fact, it was. You know, even though he has double the harvesters, and it looks like actually Shard is going to start taking back this game as far as economy goes, which is a little bit on the awkward side. And actually the Skunk is now moving up into the 4th base, and I swear to God, if he comes back into this, I actually won't know what to say. I will not know what to say. It won't make any sense inside of my head. Skunk is now moving into the 4th base, and oh my God, he's going to win this. Shard actually does not have enough defense. He has like 18 supply that isn't in workers. And oh, good God. You've got to be freaking kidding me at this point. Yeah, that's right. I'm sighing pretty majorly, and this is where he should have dropped the base way earlier. Would have worked out much better for him. However, you know, probably still wouldn't have led to a win. It looks like Shard is actually just going to be out of this game. The Skunk is moving in to the 3rd base now, and this is going to be the last major mining expansion because all these probes, you know, this is reasonably long-range mining, but it's not crazy. In fact, it's probably actually reasonably comparable, and in fact it is. It's really not that bad of an income, actually. However, it looks like the leaking of the lines is going to start happening right now, and ouch, that's pretty rough. The Photon Overdrive is onto the Nexus, so, you know, he's not going to move in there for a little bit, but he's going to move in there fairly soon. The Mothership Core will, of course, have one more Photon Overcharge to drop onto that Nexus, but I think that's basically going to be the end of the line for Shard, and this, I really don't understand how this game happened the way it happened. Because Shard was in such a good position for so long, and then Skunk killed 2 armies in a row with DTs and just sniping observers somehow, and that was absolutely absurd. Literally, absolutely absurd. Absurd. Absurdly absurd. Still can't believe it. Can't get over it in my mind. However, it looks like the DTs are now going to be moving into the primary army, and of course there is no recourse for the Red Protoss player at this point. He's just going to be losing Stalkers. I think this is going to be game. I'd be amazed not seeing call it basically any time now. I'm not actually sure what was getting in vision. Oh, there was an observer there. Okay. Well, it looks like the observer has been sniped. He still doesn't want to move into the Photon Overcharge, even though I'm fairly sure he could just eat it. Photon Overcharge, I mean, it does damage, but it's not absurd. It's maybe one extra unit that shoots clean through, like, literally maybe a Stalker in terms of DPS. Yeah, somewhere around a Stalker in terms of DPS. However, with no more detection, yeah, these B2s are just going to be ravaged through this base, and I don't see a way. Yeah, no, Shard's not going to have the same epic comebacks that the Skunk had for multiple goes in a row. Still, The Skunk, you might be one of my heroes now. My actual heroes. I still can't see how this game played out. It doesn't make sense in my head. It's blowing my mind right now. Oh, man. That was ridiculous. Big congratulations to the Skunk. That game was epic. Oh my god. I can't believe that's how that game played out. It's blowing my mind. Alright, anyway, guys, if you want any other Boisterous action, you can head over to youtube.com/user/boisteroussc2. Also, if you would like your games commentated, you can send them on into boisteroussc2@gmail.com. I would like to thank you all for watching. This is Boisterous, signing out.